Okay, so we're diving deep today into how Gen Z experiences love. And forget those quick TikTok trends. We're going way deeper with this one.
Deeper.
Yeah, way deeper. We're heading straight to Italy for this deep dive. It's
Yeah.
all about this show, Di4ries. It's set in a high school.
Oh, interesting. A high school in Italy.
Exactly, a high school in Italy full of all these really complex characters. And the cool thing is it's like we're reading their actual diaries. We see the story from each character's point of view.
Oh, wow. So we get like multiple perspectives on the same events. That's a really interesting way to tell a story, especially when it comes to love and relationships.
Totally, because everybody experiences things so differently.
Right.
So first up, we meet Pietro. He's kind of the outspoken, rebellious one, always pushing boundaries.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And then there's Livia. She's the perfect student,
Yeah.
always trying to live up to everyone's expectations. Their relationship is total opposites.
Opposites attract.
Opposites. Okay.
Classic, but always makes for good drama.
Right, so there's lots of push and pull between them. But it's in that tension that we start to see these interesting things about Gen Z love.
Like what?
Well, Livia feels so trapped by this pressure to be perfect. And she's drawn to Pietro's free spirit. It's like he makes her question everything.
Makes her question what?
Everything. Like what she really wants. Not what everyone expects her to want, you know?
Oh, I see. It's about figuring out who she is outside of those expectations.
Exactly. And it's not even that Livia doesn't want to be perfect. She's super driven. It's just that Pietro makes her wonder if maybe there's more to life than just being perfect.
More to life than being perfect. I think a lot of people can relate to that no matter what generation you're from.
Totally. But speaking of pressure, let's talk about Isabel.
Okay, who's Isabel?
She's the super confident athlete,
Yeah.
totally driven, ambitious,
Yeah.
always striving for excellence.
Sounds intense.
Oh, she is. But she's a fascinating contrast to Livia.
How so?
Well, they both want to be the best,
Yeah.
but they go about it in very different ways.
Okay, so two different sides of the same coin. Two different ways that Gen Z might view achievement.
Yeah, and Di4ries doesn't shy away from showing the downsides of all that pressure to succeed.
Hmm.
Like, Isabel is so focused on winning that it sometimes hurts her relationships.
Hurts her relationship.
Like, she misses out on connecting with people just for the joy of it,
Yeah,
you know?
I see. It's like she's sacrificing something really important in the pursuit of success.
Exactly. And it makes you
Yeah.
think, what are you willing to sacrifice to reach your goals? Is it even possible to be successful without losing sight of the things that truly matter?
It's a good question to ask ourselves for sure.
Right. Okay, let's switch gears for a second. Let's talk about Giulio. He's the class clown, always cracking jokes, making everyone laugh. But under the surface, there's a lot more going on.
Oh, I see. The class clown hiding behind the laughter. That's always an interesting character to unpack.
Yeah, Giulio's family life is pretty tough,
Yeah.
and he uses humor to kind of deflect from all the pain.
Yeah, that's a really common coping mechanism. Using humor to hide what's really going on inside.
It is. And it's something a lot of teens can relate to. But his story reminds us that everyone has struggles.
Oh, for sure. Even the people who seem like they have it all together.
Right. Everyone is fighting some kind of battle we might not know about.
Exactly. It's a good reminder to look beyond the surface.
It's like Di4ries is peeling back those layers, showing us that real life is messy, complicated,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's painful, even with all the filters and perfect images we see on social media.
So it's showing that contrast between what we present to the world and what's really happening underneath.
Yeah, and it seems to be saying that it's in that messiness and letting our guard down, that we actually connect with each other in a real way.
It's about being vulnerable.
Totally.
Ugh.
When we stop trying to be perfect, that's when real intimacy can happen.
That's really insightful, and I think that's something we can all learn from, no matter what age we are.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got these characters, Pietro and Livia, dealing with this intense attraction. Livia trying to figure out who she is, Isabel pushing herself to the limit, and Giulio hiding behind his humor.
And they're all trying to figure out how to connect with each other in a genuine way.
Exactly. And things get even more interesting when a new character enters the scene.
Oh, a new character. Tell me more.
Okay, so this new character, his name is Matteo. He's the school bully. And get this, he becomes Livia's boyfriend.
Oh, wow. Talk about adding fuel to the fire. Especially with Pietro already having feelings for her.
Right. It's a total game changer because Matteo represents everything Pietro hates.
So Pietros is not just dealing with his own feelings for Livia. He's also watching her date this guy who basically stands for everything he's against. It's like a double whammy.
It is. And it's almost like Pietro isn't just fighting for Livia's affection. He's fighting for her to see her own worth.
To see her own worth.
Yeah, to realize she deserves someone who sees the real her, not just the perfect version she thinks everyone wants.
Wow, that's really deep. So it's not just about romantic love, it's about self-love and recognizing your own value.
Exactly. And that's a huge theme we see in D4ries, authenticity in a relationship.
Authenticity.
Yeah, like these characters are constantly bumping up against what society expects of them, while also trying to figure out how to be true to themselves and navigate love and friendship. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And I imagine that's something a lot of teenagers can relate to, trying to balance being yourself with fitting in, especially in a world where social media is constantly telling you how you should look and act and who you should be.
It makes you wonder if there even is a right answer. Like,
Yeah.
how do you balance being yourself with the expectations of others, especially when you're still figuring things out?
It's a question we probably all grapple with at some point in our lives, but it's definitely amplified during those teenage years when you're trying to figure out who you are and where you fit in.
Right. That's why Julio's journey is so important.
Julio's journey.
Yeah, remember, he uses humor to hide all his insecurities,
Yeah.
the pain from his family issues.
Oh, right.
Right.
But as the show goes on, we see him start to let his friends in a little bit, show
Yeah.
them his vulnerable side.
Exactly. And that's where the real connection starts to happen.
When he drops the act and lets himself be seen for who he truly is.
It takes courage to do that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a powerful reminder that vulnerability is essential for building genuine relationships. And it goes back to that idea of authenticity. Real connection can only happen when we're willing to show up as our true selves, flaws and all.
I love that, flaws and all.
So we have Pietro and Livia caught in this emotional whirlwind. Giulio learning that it's okay to let his guard down and lean on his friends. But what about Isabel? Where did she fit into all of this?
Well, remember how we talked about her pushing herself so hard to succeed that her relationships suffer?
Oh, right. Right. She was so focused on winning, on being the best.
Exactly. Well, we see that play out in a really interesting way when she starts to develop feelings for Danielle.
Danielle. Who is he?
He's a sensitive, kind classmate, totally different from the people she usually hangs out with.
So she's drawn to someone who's not like her usual crowd?
Yeah, it's like she's drawn to a different kind of strength in him.
Yeah.
Something softer, more genuine.
I see. And that forces her to rethink her own ideas about what it means to be strong and successful.
Exactly. She starts to realize that there's strength in vulnerability too, and letting yourself connect with someone on a deeper level.
That's a really powerful message, especially for young women who are often told they need to be tough and in control all the time.
I agree. It's like Isabel's story is showing us that real strength comes from embracing all of your emotions, not just the ones society deems acceptable.
And for Isabel, who has built her whole identity around achievement and control, letting her guard down with Danielle takes a lot of courage.
It does. And that's something I think we can all relate to no matter how old we are. We all build walls to protect ourselves from getting hurt. But it's in letting those walls crumble and letting ourselves be seen that we really connect with other people.
That's so true. And Di4ries gets that. It portrays that so well.
It does. It shows us that vulnerability, honesty,
Yeah.
and the courage to embrace who you are, those are the things that pave the path to real love and connection.
Love and connection in all its forms.
Exactly. Because Di4ries isn't just about romantic love. There's a strong focus on friendship, too, especially the bond between Pietro and Giulio.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about their friendship.
Well, it's this amazing source of support and humor, even when they're going through their own individual challenges. They're there for each other through thick and thin. They vent their frustrations. They celebrate their victories. It's a real brotherhood.
Aw, I love that. It's like that classic saying, bros before, well, you know the rest.
Exactly. And their friendship reminds us that sometimes the most powerful love stories aren't about romance at all. They're about those deep, enduring bonds of friendship.
Right. And just like romantic relationships, those friendships get tested as we grow and change.
For sure. They have to learn to adapt to each other's evolving needs and communicate honestly to keep that bond strong.
Which is true for any relationship. Really romantic or platonic, they all take work.
So true. You have to keep putting in the effort to make them thrive.
Absolutely. And Di4ries doesn't shy away from showing that. It's a reminder that love in all its forms requires ongoing effort, understanding, and a willingness to meet each other halfway.
Yeah.
So we have these intertwined stories of love, friendship, and self-discovery all taking place in this beautiful Italian seaside town. What's your big takeaway so far? What's resonating most with you about Di4ries?
I think for me, it's the show's commitment to authenticity that really stands out. These characters feel real relatable and flawed. They're not some idealized version of teenagers.
I agree. And it's refreshing to see a show that portrays teenagers with so much depth and complexity. They're not just one-dimensional characters. They're fully formed individuals with their own hopes, dreams, and fears.
And they're all struggling with those universal questions of identity, belonging, and connection.
Questions that we all grapple with at some point in our lives.
Exactly. So what's particularly interesting is how the show explores the intersection of individual identity with cultural and societal expectations. We're seeing how these teenagers navigate the pressure to conform while also striving to be true to themselves.
Yeah, it's like this constant balancing act between wanting to fit in and wanting to stand out, the pressure to follow the rules versus the desire to break free and create your own path.
And that tension, that struggle to define yourself within the context of what society expects, is something that resonates with everyone, no matter how old you are. It's a universal human experience.
You're so right. And Di4ries captures that experience beautifully. It's sensitive, funny, and just gets the complexities of human relationships.
It does, and it does it in a way that feels both heartwarming and thought-provoking.
So as we move towards the final part of our deep dive, let's continue to explore how these characters evolve and what they learn about love, friendship, and the importance of embracing their true selves.
I'm excited to see where their journeys take them. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. I am too. But before we go there, I think we need to talk about family for a second.
Family.
Yeah, family plays a big role in Di4ries. It's not just about the teenagers and their relationships with each other.
Right. It shows how their families shape their views on things, like love, trust, communication.
Exactly. We get to see how those family dynamics influence their sense of self and how they approach relationships.
And it's not just one kind of family either, right?
No, not at all. Like, Pietro's parents are super hands-off, given tons of freedom, but he also ends up feeling unsupported sometimes.
That makes sense.
And then you have Livia, whose parents are the total opposite, super involved, but they put so much pressure on her to be perfect.
Oh, wow. So two very different parenting styles.
Right, and it creates a whole other set of challenges for Livia.
So the show is saying that there's no one right way to parent.
Yeah, that's what it seems to be saying. Every family has its own strengths and weaknesses.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's not just about parents either, right?
No, you're right. We also see relationships between siblings, cousins, extended family members. All of it just adds another layer to the characters' stories.
Another layer to the story.
Yeah, and what I find really interesting is how Di4ries explores that generational conflict, you know, when it comes to love and relationships.
Oh, like how teenagers today are dealing with modern dating and social media.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
While their parents and grandparents might have more traditional views.
It's that classic clash between generations.
It is. But Di4ries handles it in a really nuanced way. It doesn't make either side right or wrong.
So it's acknowledging that both perspectives have some validity.
Exactly. While also highlighting the need for understanding and communication between generations.
It's a good reminder that we all come from different backgrounds and have different experiences that shape how we see the world.
It is. It's about being open to hearing other people's perspectives, even if they're different from our own.
So Di4ries is giving us this layered look at family life, the ups and downs of teen love, that universal struggle of finding your place in the world. But there's something else I think the show does really well.
Oh, what's that?
It subtly challenges those traditional gender stereotypes.
Gender stereotypes.
Yeah, it's not super obvious,
Yeah.
but it's definitely there. We see male characters who are open about their feelings, who look to their friends for support.
That's great because men are often told they can't show their emotions.
Right. And then you have the female characters who are strong, ambitious,
Mm-hmm.
and capable of making their own choices.
So the show is presenting a more balanced view of masculinity and femininity.
Exactly. It's refreshing to see, especially in a teen drama.
It's quietly questioning those traditional roles that society tries to force on young people.
And it does it without being preachy or over the top.
Yeah.
It just lets these characters be themselves.
Which brings us back to that theme of authenticity.
Yeah, that weaves its way through the entire show, embracing who you are, regardless of what society expects.
It's about finding your voice, your truth, and living in alignment with your values.
And I think that's such a powerful message for teenagers, especially in today's world.
Absolutely. They're
Yeah.
constantly being bombarded with messages about how they should be and what they should do.
Right, but Di4ries is telling them it's okay to be different, to be vulnerable, to mess up, to create their own path.
It's a message we all need to hear sometimes, no matter how old we are.
Totally. So Di4ries is doing all of this, exploring these complex themes of love, friendship, family identity.
And it does it all with humor heart and this deep understanding of just how messy human relationships can be.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, What's your final takeaway? What makes D4ries so special? I think it's the balance the show strikes between being entertaining and lighthearted and having this real emotional depth. You
Yeah.
laugh, you cry, you think. It's a show you can enjoy on so many different levels.
I totally agree. It captures the joy, the heartbreak, the confusion, all those intense emotions of being a teenager.
Right. But it also offers these really insightful glimpses into the complexities of love, friendship,
Yeah.
and the importance of staying true to yourself.
And ultimately, I think it leaves you with a sense of hope. Do you feel that too?
Oh, yeah, definitely. These characters, even with their flaws and mistakes,
Mm,
they're on a journey of self-discovery and growth. And I think that's inspiring to see.
it is. And to our listener, we encourage you to check out D4s for yourself. See what resonates with you. What do these characters' journeys reveal to you? Do their experiences mirror your own in any way? What lessons can we all learn from their struggles and triumphs as we navigate our own relationships?
It's a great point. D4ries isn't just a show. It's a conversation starter. It
Yeah.
makes you think about your own life, your relationships, your own personal journey.
Absolutely. And hopefully it inspires us all to embrace the beautiful messiness of it all.
I love that. The beautiful messiness of it all. Well said.
I do. It's like Day 4 is showing us that even with all the pressure to conform, there's still this deep desire to be authentic, to be yourself.
Totally. And that's what makes the show so relatable, I think.
Absolutely, because we all feel that pressure to some extent,
Right.
to fit in, to be accepted. But at the same time, we want to stand out, to be unique.
It's like this constant push and pull.
It is. And Di4ries captures that tension so well. It shows us how these teenagers are trying to navigate that balance between being true to themselves and fitting in with their peers.
And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a teenager and you're still figuring things out.
So true. But I think the show's message is ultimately one of hope, that it's possible to find that balance, to be yourself and still find love and acceptance.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a really important message for young people to hear.
Especially in today's world where there's so much pressure to conform, to fit into these narrow boxes.
But D4ries is telling us that it's okay to break out of those boxes, to embrace what makes you different.
And to celebrate those differences.
Exactly. Because that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us special.
And it's those unique qualities that allow us to connect with others in a genuine and meaningful way.
I love that. So we've got this show, D4ries, set in Italy, with these complex characters. And it's exploring all these universal themes of love, friendship, family identity.
Mm.
What's your big takeaway? What makes this show stand out to you?
I think for me, it's the way Di4ries manages to be both entertaining and thought-provoking. You know, it's got all the elements of a classic teen drama, the romance, the friendships, the family dynamics.
But it also delves into these deeper issues of identity, self-acceptance, and the courage to be yourself.
Exactly. It makes you think about your own life, your own relationships, and your own journey of self-discovery.
And it does it all with this sense of humor and warmth that makes you feel connected to these characters, even though they're living in this completely different world.
It's like Di4ries is reminding us that no matter where we're from or what our experiences are, we're all ultimately searching for the same things: love, connection, and a sense of belonging.
I think that's beautifully said. So
Oh.
it looks like we're just about out of time for today's deep dive. But before we go, I just want to say a huge thank you to you for sharing your insights on Di4ries. It's been such a fascinating conversation.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I always love talking about shows that make us think about the world in new ways.
And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed this deep dive into Di4ries. And we encourage you to check out the show for yourselves.
See what resonates with you. What speaks to your own experiences.
Exactly. And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep embracing the beautiful messiness of life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So
No.
until next time, ciao.